Have you ever seen someone harmful, dishonest, and manipulative get praised? Not ignored, but celebrated, like they're the hero. And something inside you clenched, not out of envy, but because you knew something was off, deeply off. Rumi said it perfectly. When the wicked are praised, the throne trembles, and even the righteous begin to doubt. In just 2 lines, this powerful Persian poem delivers a thunderous warning. Let's dive deep and see why false praise is dangerous for everyone involved, including the person who gives it. Hi, I'm Massey, reviving the ancient Persian wisdom to enrich our modern lives. Rumi says, "The throne trembles at the praise of the wicked, and even the pious become doubtful when the wicked are praised." In Rumi's world, the throne symbolizes justice, truth, and divine order. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you why does it tremble just because someone wicked got praised. False praise empowers the wrong people. Praising someone is not neutral. It uplifts that person's image and reputation. Praising the wrong people is not being polite because it can normalize their harmful behavior, especially in public or on social media. It actually gives them social credit. Someone who harms others now feels righteous. They get louder, bolder, more dangerous, and harder to challenge. What society celebrates becomes a model. So when we keep uplifting shallow, harmful, manipulative, and dishonest personalities, we start to destroy the foundation of trust, ethics, and emotional safety in every aspect of our life, from family relationships to friendships to romantic relationships and to our workplace. Let's break this down with real-life examples across the spaces we live and breathe. Everyone praises grandpa for being the successful one, for being the one who built the family legacy and holds everything and everyone together with his wealth. But no one dares to talk about how he uses his money to control people. He plays favorites and emotionally punishes anyone who doesn't obey him. He's called generous, but his gifts come with strings attached. The constant praise for his success hides the fear he creates and protects him from ever being questioned. He keeps controlling people quietly because everyone's too busy admiring the mask. That's how false praise makes harmful people feel untouchable. In many families, toxic behavior is tolerated or even praised because they look successful or because they provide. And the more they are glorified, the more they feel entitled to mistreat others and dominate. And the real victims stay silent. This creates family gaslighting or even generational trauma, where abuse hides behind fake admiration. She always praises her boyfriend for being protective, but he's actually controlling what she wears, who she talks to, and where she goes. Because everyone is calling him the caring partner, no one sees the red flags. And she's even starting to believe that his jealousy is love. That's the danger of false praise. It turns abuse into something admirable. And it gaslights the person living it and gives the power to the person causing it. When we confuse control with love and possessiveness with care, we normalize emotional abuse, especially among young couples. Public praise for toxic partners makes others question their emotional boundaries. False praise here reinforces toxic attachment styles, damages self-esteem, and traps people in unhealthy dynamics. He's loud, constantly interrupts, and makes fun of people at every hangout. But somehow everyone calls him the funny one or the super confident. They laugh even when they feel uncomfortable, and they praise him even when it hurts. And that praise gives him power. It tells him his behavior is not toxic, but entertaining, so he keeps going. louder, meaner, and more dominant. Over time, people start avoiding the group, shrinking in silence, but he's still the center of attention. That's what false praise does. It turns bad behavior into a performance and shifts power from the kind, quiet ones and hands it to the one who is making the most noise. When harmful behavior gets rewarded by laughter and praise, it creates emotional confusion, deep loneliness, social anxiety, and people pleasing, especially in those who feel like they have to tolerate toxic behavior in order to belong. False praise doesn't just protect the bad behavior, it amplifies it. A manager is always getting praise as result-driven or high-performing. Executives love him and numbers look good on paper. But behind the scenes, the team is burnt out. They stay late, not out of passion, but out of fear. And no one dares to speak up because every concern is labeled as excuse or jealousy. And every time he gets rewarded by bonuses, promotions, or applause, his behavior gets worse. He learns that pushing people to their breaking point is leadership, silencing feedback is a strength, and fear is productivity. False praise can turn toxic control into a success story, and the quiet suffering of the team gets buried under performance metrics. In many companies, aggression gets mistaken for leadership. The more we praise harsh, emotionally unaware managers, the more we allow toxic work culture to flourish. When abusive or unsustainable leadership gets glamorized, it leads to chronic stress, depression, burnout, and high turnover, especially in the environments where kindness and vulnerability are seen as weakness. False praise becomes even more dangerous when it's amplified online. Think about influencers or public figures who are constantly praised for their success or confidence. But behind the curated photos and empowering captions, they push toxic hustle culture. They glorify burnout as ambition. Some even emotionally manipulate their followers in the name of tough love or real talk. When they trend, people start copying their values, routines, and mindset without realizing the damage hidden behind the filter. What happens next? Young people burn out trying to keep up. Boundaries are blurred, and self-worth becomes tied to performance, followers, and fake positivity. False praise fuels harmful role models, and when millions follow someone who is emotionally unhealthy, the ripple effect hits everyone. False praise creates false heroes, and false heroes lead people to real harm. Let's flip the trend. Praise people for their character, not just their charisma. In a world where everyone is seeking attention, let's give our attention to the people who really deserve it. We often think that the biggest danger of the false praise is boosting the wrong people, but actually the deeper damage happens to the right people, the kind, honest, and ethical ones, the ones watching from the sidelines. When good people see the toxic or dishonest individuals getting constantly praised or getting the same treatment as the good ones, they may get discouraged and they may start wondering, if that's what people reward, what am I even doing? Why am I even trying? False praise makes integrity look invisible and manipulation look admirable. It silences those who lead with empathy, honesty, and humility because the spotlight never seems to reach them. It causes moral injury, which is what happens when we see something that we know is wrong being celebrated. When this becomes the norm, even the wisest hearts become doubtful and begin to wonder if the path of truth is still worth it. We must protect the integrity of the good by learning to discern and telling the difference between genuine virtue and empty performance. In a world full of noise, surface-level charm, and filters, discernment is not just a life skill, it's a moral responsibility. Sometimes it's not even about the loud praise, it's about seeing no difference at all. You show up, you help out, you go the extra mile, but you're still treated the same as those who do nothing. No visible appreciation, no deeper bond, and no recognition. That's when the discouragement sinks in. Like when an uncle is kind and generous to all his nephews and nieces the same, even the ones who ignore him. Or a friend who welcomes everyone with the same warmth and treats everyone equally, although there is only one of the guests that always stays back to help her clean up. The equal treatment seems unfair when your emotional investment is so much greater. When goodness receives no distinction, people start to wonder, should I keep trying? Is my kindness even seen? Does goodness matter at all? Over time, good people begin to shut down, not because they want to, but because they're tired of giving in a world that doesn't notice. Let's bring this insight home with some real-life examples you might recognize. One of my sisters is the quiet one. She's always kind and always helpful, but she gets ignored constantly. Meanwhile, my other sister is dramatic. She always lies and manipulates others, but she gets all the attention. This dynamic sends a dangerous message. Being loud and chaotic gets you rewarded and noticed, and being kind gets you forgotten. Kindness and goodness is invisible. Manipulation wins and drama is rewarded. Over time, the kind and quiet sibling may start to feel unworthy, overlooked, and think like goodness doesn't matter at all. She may stop trying altogether. She will start to feel invisible in relationships, suppress her needs, and disconnect from her voice. This creates sibling resentment, internalized self-worthlessness, and long-term self-esteem issues in the ones who never get acknowledged. He always showed up, walked her home late at night, remembered her favorite tea, and listened without interrupting. Yet when she was around friends, she praised cocky, loud personalities and called them real men. And whenever he offered a thoughtful gesture, she would say, "You're too soft. I need someone with more edge." So he stopped texting goodnight, not out of spite, but because warmth is not infinite when it's dismissed as weakness. When we praise the unhealthy partner and ignore the one offering real safety, healthy love starts to feel boring. The good partner feels unseen and may eventually shut down emotionally. This may lead to attachment anxiety and avoidant behavior and cost you the love and relationship so many people wish for. She's always there, listening, supporting, and showing up when it counts, but no one praises her or tags her online. Meanwhile, the other friend who is loud and stirs up gossip and drama is called the fun and so real. This kind of false praise doesn't just reward the wrong behavior, it discourages the good ones and the mature ones from being themselves. Over time, it leads to friendship fatigue and emotional burnout for the ones who are quietly doing the hard work of being the good friend. When kindness and stability go unseen, people stop investing emotionally and toxic behavior becomes the new normal. He works with integrity, supports the team, and never cuts corners, yet he gets overlooked. Meanwhile, another employee who always exaggerates results and self-promotes gets Employee of the Month. When companies reward performative over principled behavior, morale drops, and good people feel like they don't belong. This leads to disengagement, imposter syndrome, and quiet quitting. Not out of laziness, but out of disappointment. Let's break that cycle. Honor those who live with quiet integrity. Celebrate the ones who uplift others without needing the spotlight. And protect the hearts of the good, because when they stop trying, we all lose. False praise corrupts the praiser. Let's flip the mirror. What happens to the person who is given the false praise? They lose credibility. People start asking, do they not see the truth or are they just pretending? They attract the wrong trust. Harmful people are drawn to them, and good people slowly distance themselves. Their praise becomes meaningless. If you cheer for everyone regardless of the truth, people stop listening. When you praise someone who doesn't deserve it, when you hype up someone who is toxic, emotionally harmful, and unethical, you're not just flattering them, you are cracking your own integrity. People start questioning your judgment, your motives, and your emotional intelligence. And the damage spreads in all directions. My aunt constantly praises one of our cousins for being respectful and successful, even though he barely visits her, ignores her messages, and treats everybody poorly. All of us see that. What do you think it does to her image? People begin to lose respect in her judgment, and her constant praise makes people question her fairness and emotional intelligence. My friend keeps posting tributes about her boyfriend, even though he has cheated, lied, and ghosted her before. She keeps painting him as the perfect man. At first, people stay quiet, but little by little, they stop trusting her words. They ask themselves, why is she protecting someone who has hurt her? Is she in denial, or is she trying to prove something? Her false praise breaks her credibility and alienates those who supported her before. Our group leader keeps talking about this one girl who is so supportive and kind, even though she always dismisses others, interrupts them, and gossips about everyone. The group members begin to mistrust her leadership and judgment. They ask themselves, is she blind to her behavior or playing favorites? False praise here damages the leader's influence and fractures the group harmony. A manager kept praising a colleague as a top performer, even though that colleague always took credit for others' work and created tension in the team. Other employees feel betrayal. They think either the boss doesn't know or doesn't care. The manager is now seen as either naive or complicit, and their authority crumbles quietly. When we praise the wrong people, we betray our own values. Eventually, our words carry less weight, our relationships lose depth, and people start withdrawing their trust in us. Flattery can be a form of corruption. Sometimes people praise others not because they truly admire them, but to gain something, to manipulate, or out of fear. This kind of fake praise is more than dishonest. It corrupts the truth. When people see someone who has deeply hurt them being praised, they don't just get confused. They start questioning their own truth. They ask themselves, was it really that bad? Maybe I overreacted. If everyone else sees them as good, maybe I'm the problem. This can trigger self-doubt, anxiety, identity confusion, and even relational trauma, especially in the ones who are already carrying emotional wounds. It forces people to doubt their reality, and that's where emotional damage begins. That's not just unfair, that's emotional gaslighting on a collective level. If you're watching this and thinking, I've been there, I've felt this, you're not alone. Maybe you've seen someone being praised for something they didn't earn. Maybe you were the one getting overlooked, silenced, or hurt. Or maybe you were the one giving the false praise. Here's what we can do to stop it. Hold your praise with care. Not every moment needs applause. Not every voice needs to be echoed. Sometimes silence is a form of truth. When you refuse to join in fake praise, you're not being rude, you're being authentic. In a world addicted to appearances, that's revolutionary. Ask yourself, am I praising because I believe it or because I just want to belong? When your words carry integrity, they actually mean something. Trust your discomfort. Your body knows. If you hear someone being praised and your stomach tightens or your chest sinks in, listen to that. That's not negativity. That's your inner compass. Emotional dissonance is real, and ignoring it can lead to burnout, self-abandonment, and even trauma. You don't need to call out everyone, but you also don't need to doubt yourself. Discomfort is data. Be the one who sees clearly. In a room full of flattery, clarity is rare, and rare is powerful. You don't need to yell, you don't need to argue, but your quiet refusal to co-sign a lie, that's a strength. In a culture of fake perfection, authentic people shine differently. False praise isn't just a lie. It shakes the foundation of truth and justice. It tells us that harmful behavior equals success, manipulation equals charisma, and loudness equals leadership. Don't let false praise make you lose faith in yourself. Be the voice of truth and always praise what truly matters. Let's celebrate kindness and integrity together. If you enjoyed this video, please show me your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. I'm Masi, reviving the ancient Persian wisdom to enrich our modern lives. Until next video, stay wise and stay well.